Hey guys, so today I've created an email automation outreach which will pull automatically an unlimited amount of emails from the internet. And I want to show you how I've done it. So just to show you the final output, we'll have a sheet which will obtain all of the websites and the businesses that we're finding, as well as the phone numbers. And then we will find a sheet just for the output of emails. And we can see here, I've just done a quick example, but I'll take you through and do a quick example here. So let's delete what I already have. And I'll delete this as well. And so I'll show you, so let's say, find me plumbers in London. And it will go through this workflow and basically loop over different neighborhoods within London and find plumbers within those neighborhoods. And I'll come back to here when it's finished because it takes a little bit of time. Okay, so it's now finished running and I can show you that it's picked up 154 different emails, all to plumbing, and some are, I'd say, it looks like there's like an 80% of non-spam emails. There are the few that do not really count as proper emails, but in reality, there are probably ways to data clean this a little bit better. And we have the whole list of companies, and this is definitely, this won't be fake companies because it's all pulled from Google Maps. And I'll show you exactly how I've set this up. Just to start with though, this is all going to be on my school community for free. Head over there and you can download the workflow immediately so that you can actually just copy and paste it within your own N8N workflow and you don't have to set it up from scratch. And just to show you how you do this is the community. And then if you come to Classroom, the YouTube workflows, all of the workflows that I have will be put here. And if you click on any of these, I have the JSON file ready for you, as well as the link to the YouTube. So that is all there. Now, let's get into the details and I'll show you exactly how I've done this step by step. To start with, let's clear the execution so we can go one by one. To start with, it's set up with chat trigger and we have an AI agent. And what we want to do here is have the AI agent turn whatever chat input you put in into a query. And so I've just put in basically you're an agent, which turns the input into Google Maps search queries and given it an example. So we want it to have, like, if I say plumber plus, so if I say a city, I want it to come with all of the different sub neighborhoods and like the little neighborhoods to search the query as well. And this will basically help get a better return from Google Maps. So if I execute this step after, so I'll show you how I've set the rest up. So it's just connected to chat trigger node. And I want to click require a specific output format, because this will allow me to enter this structured output parser. So if I just close this, if I click on that, I've just chosen the structured output parser here. And this will allow me to define how I want to structure the output of the AI agent. And now the reason I've done it like this is because it's easy to be read into the next nodes. I have the one thing that you just need to take from this is that if you want to have, say, like 10 neighborhoods of London, I want to have 10 or 12 examples of this query. If I've just got, for example, this, if I've just got one of them, it will literally only return one neighborhood, despite entering in your system prompt, return 10, So that's the reason I've actually had to copy and paste it all out. And then my OpenAI chat model is a 4.0 mini, GPT-4.0 mini. It's a very simple model and cheap. And so basically, if I'm actually going to do it with only 2, just because I don't want to waste too many credits on it. But if I do an example, let me do it step by step. So let's test the chat. Let's say dentists in, I don't know, London. Well, yeah, I'll just say London, but it could be anything, New York. And execute this. And then if I execute this step, we'll see that the output will give us 2 neighborhoods, and it will give us a dentist plus that. So for example, dentist plus Manhattan, dentist plus Brooklyn. And the reason I've put plus is because it's easier to be read by the Google Maps API. Then I want to split this out because at the moment it's all in one output query. So I've pulled in the split out node, and I've pulled this into here. So it's an output. And now, rather than just have one output or one row, let me say, it will split these out into 2 different ones very nicely. And these can be easily used for the next steps. So now I've put in a loop over items. And the reason for this is because I want to search each row individually and go through the whole workflow per row. And the easiest way to do this is loop over items. Now, it's a bit tricky to show, I believe, step by step, but let's have a look how it's done. The first thing is, once we have our query, we want to scrape Google Maps. And so there are multiple ways to do this, I guess. So you can have an HTTP request node. I have found, however, that this often gets blocked by bot protection systems. So I wasn't actually able to get mine working. So instead, I've found SERP API, and I've used it in previous videos. And this is actually super easy because it gives you loads of different options to search. So you can see we have Amazon, we can have Facebook, Google Maps, all kinds of different ones. So I've chosen the Google Maps option. And when you set this up, you want to go to add create credential, and you just want to put your API key in. Now, if you go to their website, SERP API, I'm not going to click on it because it will show my API key, but it's just here and it's really simple. You copy and paste that. And I have a free plan. So you have 250 opportunities to search, and this renews every month. So, I mean, depending on what you want, it can work quite nicely. So if we execute this step, I don't know. Let me have a look. If I can just do this one. No, yeah, because it's within a loop, it's a little bit tricky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to execute the whole thing. What if I execute this one, in fact? Oh, here we go. Okay, yeah. So we have one row. So it's per row, of course. And we just pull in the output to the query. So the way you set this up is operation is Google Maps. So that's the reason. I mean, in fact, if you really want to flesh it out, you could probably go through Google itself. You could probably include LinkedIn into this. I wonder if LinkedIn is on this, or maybe you have to search via Google or LinkedIn stuff. And at the moment, I'm just showing you Google Maps, and the resources search, type of search. You can even narrow it down with GPS coordinates if you want to just fully focus on one specific region. And I've just chosen country UK because I was just searching for London specifically. But if we execute this step, it will search Google Maps for dentist plus Manhattan. And it's pretty cool. So I'm actually curious because I've put United Kingdom. So it may give me strange results. But you can see here, it says one item, but in fact, you get loads of different results. So position 1, and if you can see, like position 2, so there are loads of different results from Google Maps. So my next node is in fact to clean this up. So all I'm doing is actually returning this local results. The other columns aren't too much of importance to me. Search parameters, information, blah, blah, blah. So returning this specific one will split all of these things into different columns very nicely. And what we have here, which can be of use, is the title. We will have the place ID, which is the unique ID of the Google Maps location pin. And other ones are, for example, the address, the phone number, and the website. These are the most important ones. So what I've done here, just in case there are duplicates within Google Maps, but it's unlikely, I have just entered a remove duplicate node. Oh, by the way, on the last one, this is just a simple return input. This is very simple to do, but all this code will be already in your workflow if you download it from my school community. Now the remove duplicates, I've just removed items repeated within current input. And the place I want to compare is the place ID. So this is going to be unique. So if I execute this, it will give me back 20 items because they're all unique. That's fine. And then I want to just update my Google Sheets. So in my Google Sheets, I'm going to delete this because this is from my previous London example. Here, I've just entered 5 columns: place ID, title, address, opening hours, in case that was of use, website, and phone, and pulled all this in via here. Very simple. And just to be clean with it, I've done actually an append or update row. So I want to actually match it on the place ID. If I'm doing this multiple times, and especially if I'm doing it in the same city over multiple neighborhoods, just in case the same dentist in this case doesn't come up multiple times, I just want to make sure that my Google Maps, my Google Sheets is clean and has only a unique output there. I hope that makes sense. But so now I've done this, and it will just fill this all in with all different dentists. It says error here. Not too much of importance. Most likely this is because, let's have a look. Phone. Interesting. I don't actually know why this is errored. Probably because it is a US number and it's got +1 is my guess. And actually, if I click on this, yeah. So it's only because it's just a plus, but actually the phone number's in there. That's done. And then what we want to do is scrape the website for all the email addresses. Now, before we do that, I do need to turn this website field into a string, just because this is the way that the scraping will be able to take, it has to take a string. And then if I execute this one, let's have a look. Oh, I need to execute previous. Sorry. I need to execute this. So then that turns, so, and also it only takes the website out. So I've just taken the website. And then if I execute this step, it's gonna scrape the web. So one thing to make sure here, I have a get method and I've pulled in this. That is the only thing that I've set up here. In settings, however, you need to make sure that you continue. In fact, I can use continue here, but I've just done continue using error output. You want to make sure that you click this, otherwise it will stop by default on the workflows, which we don't want, because as soon as there's an error, if it doesn't scrape it properly or whatever, we want to continue so the other ones do get scraped. Continue using error output, that's good. Let me see if I can show this. we get data as an HTML. How that works. So this is basically the HTML of the website, and inside here, we want to be scraping for email addresses. So that's what the next node does. So in the next node, I have code here which basically uses a regex to find all the email addresses. And also, just to show you, I have made sure, because a lot of these websites are built using WixPress, and as a result, within the HTML, there has the @wixpress.com or whatever, and this often comes up. So just as a first basic cleaning step, I've said anything that contains WixPress is to be removed and filtered out. So if I execute this step, this will give me all of the emails from all of the different websites that we've got in that list. And it's just taking a little bit of time, but you'll see this code is going to be available in the school community, so don't worry about it. But if you're doing it from scratch, I've basically put in an example of the HTML into ChatGPT and then asked it to create me a JavaScript. And you can see here we have all the emails out. And like there are a few that are in here that are clearly not emails, so we could probably actually clean this out as well. Like with WixPress, we could probably, if there are recurring ones like WebP or just domain, that is not going to be one. So there are different ones that we can actually clean out. And one thing to note, by the way, on this, I've put in the settings, always output data. This is because if you have if you don't have websites, or it's not able to pull anything from the websites, the workflow will break unless you always output data. So if we have going through multiple different neighborhoods from the AI agent, we want to make sure that if it breaks, it moves on to the next one. So always output data. And then similarly with the emails, we just want to remove the duplicates, take the email, compare. In this case, there are no duplicates, 29 in, 29 out. And then finally, we append the row in our sheet. And this is our second sheet of emails. So we just want to append the row here. As simple as that. Map each column manually. And yeah, that's pretty it. Easy, simple. And it loops through all the way through. The one thing I should say though, I haven't actually connected anything to this done, but if I do, let me just, because it just runs forever if I don't, let me do like an edit fields or something like this. Let me do something like this. And actually I'll show you just because I just need to delete this. And if I show, where are we in there? Yeah. I can just execute this and you'll see that there should be 29. Yeah, exactly. 29 emails added on. Yeah, and actually I can just put done, and this will just signify to the workflow that it's finished. And that is it. So I hope this was useful, and I hope you can see how it's a very cool tool to collect email addresses for free, actually, to start with. But if you're going to use it constantly, you can just use that as you wish for your business. This is going to be on School Community. Please let me know in the comments if there's anything that else you want to see. But otherwise, I'll see you next time.